We are live. It is Batesball talk. I don't know if that's what we're going to call it, but this is my post-game show for Inside the Huddle. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're watching live or if you're on the team replay, hashtag team replay, in the comments, every Thursday night, me and Pete and Kelly and other people too, Walt and Jeff from Dizardino, a bunch of my friends, we talk football for an hour, hour and a half, whatever it is, on Inside the Huddle. That show just ended. We just had the post-game show where we were arguing about baseball. It's a blast. I love it. But I will always have a show. I'll probably be going Tuesday and Thursday during baseball season, talking baseball and other stuff. Tonight, we've got a whole bunch of topics. So we're going to talk a little bit about football, maybe carry over the conversation from Inside the Huddle. Tonight's topic's Shaquille O'Neal, one of my all-time favorite athletes, and I don't even like the NBA very much. We'll talk about what he did. It's amazing. Cowboys cheerleader scandal again? Oh, no. We'll talk about that a little bit. The baseball lockout. It's pissing me off. I'm not going to lie. Me and Walt from Mouse Talk, good friend of mine. We were just on Inside the Huddle, and after the show ended, we talked for about 10 minutes, mostly about the lockout. And then Troy Aikman, a big contract to leave Fox to go to Monday Night Football. Patriotism, USA, Everett's in the house. Hitchhiking Bones in the house. Hitchhiking Bones is in green. Why? Because they're members of the channel. They get access to some emojis. They support the channel. We love them. Anybody who's a member of the channel is going above and beyond. Of course, I love your support just for watching. You can hit the like button. You can subscribe to the channel, but mostly I just want you here in chat talking about what we're talking about. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun all season long. Batesball talk may or may not be the title. Bates, my last name. It is what it is. Let's start with Shaq. So I follow a whole bunch of people on Instagram, just like you do. Instagram is a fun place for all kinds of crazy stuff. The Collins kids, let me pull this up on my phone. The Collins kids are a neat family. They're, I don't know, they've got like 12 kids, and I guess they're a Texas family. I don't know why my phone is not letting me search this. And it's really, they're just a bunch of cute kids, the Collins kids, all right? So you can check them out if you want, but you don't need to because I'm going to pull it up right now. Getting an email here. He did a good thing. So I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Hey, Anna, what's going on, my friend? He did a good thing. Grapevine is not far from where I live. I was in Grapevine this weekend. Wine country here in Texas. Very, very nice. My phone is not pulling it up. That is not so fun. There it is. Here we go. Shaq did an amazing thing. Check this out. Mercedes-Benz of Grapevine, that's Shaq and a bunch of kids, the Collins kids. I'm just going to read it from their Instagram, and then I'll share the pictures with you. This is amazing. This is from the mother of the Collins kids. Again, a big, beautiful family on Instagram. She says, I have no words right now. Today, and this is a couple days ago, Shaq blessed us like never before. Last night, we had a surprise visit from Shaq. He took us to dinner as a family at Babe's Chicken. If you know Texas, you know Babe's. Anyway, it was so much fun to just hang out and eat dinner with him. And then today, he started the day off by taking us to the Mercedes dealership to get us a new family 15-passenger van. We were outgrowing our 12-passenger van, and the air conditioning wasn't always working with the greatest. And so this is such an outrageous blessing. There's more. They didn't have any in stock, so we got to customize and order a van that should be here in July. He then took us to dinner at Rainforest Cafe. I've been to that Rainforest Cafe in Grapevine, where he paid for another table's entire meal, not knowing that they were from out of state and here on missions. And then he tipped our waitress $1,000 after her car broke down today. There's more. And then when he saw my husband's truck that has been without air conditioning and heat for a while, you can't not have air conditioning here in Texas. He took us to the Ford dealership and blessed us with another truck. Shaq takes his family with all these kids to dinner. Then he takes them to the Mercedes dealership, gets them a van. Then he takes them to Rainforest Cafe, where he pays for their meal, another family's meal, and gives the waitress $1,000 tip. And then he takes the family to the Ford dealership to buy them a truck. He also spent time encouraging us and loving on our children and speaking life into our family. I am completely lost for words. Somebody wake me up. I must be dreaming. Thank you, Shaq. Times a million. You have been such a blessing to us. I'm going to tell you a little personal angle with Shaq here in a minute. This is just beautiful. I am not a big NBA fan. I have been a huge Shaq fan. I mean, since he was at LSU, to be honest. I love this man. I love what he stands for. I love him as an athlete, one of the great centers of all time in the NBA. But his reason for being on the planet, his use of his blessings is amazing. I've been with the Boys and Girls Clubs since 1993. We're no longer with the Boys and Girls Clubs. We've gone independent. But I started with the Boys and Girls Clubs in 1993. More than 20-year career with the Boys and Girls Clubs. And I got to see Shaq speak at a convention, I think twice. Maybe it was just once. I think once was on video and once was in real life. Regardless, he and his mother are both in the Boys and Girls Club of America Hall of Fame. He is the genuine article. He loves people. My pastor says, how does he say it? My reason, I'm going to screw it up. Shaq has been blessed immensely, and Shaq every day lives that out. He loves police. He loves families. He loves giving back. He's an entrepreneur. He's hilarious. He is a great man. And I just wanted to share this story. I love this story. Again, I'm not a fan of the NBA. I used to be. I was a fan of the Lakers back in the Showtime era. That's how old I am. We're talking about Magic and James Worthy and Byron Scott and Norm Nixon and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I was a Lakers fan. And of course, that kept me as a Lakers fan. I grew up in Southern California. When Shaq was there and then Kobe was there, it was easy to be a Lakers fan then. I love Shaq. I loved watching him play. That was when I was watching a lot. My reason for accumulation is distribution. Exactly. My brain went elsewhere. Shaq has accumulated a lot, and Shaq is distributing it very, very well. I love that you knew it better than I did. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. If you think that the world is negative, listen to Shaq. Shaq is everything you'd want your son to be. Shaq is everything you'd want your dad to be. Shaq is an amazing guy. And so are all of you in chat. So again, let me say hi to people. Hitchhiking Moans, who knew my own quote better than I did. Dean the Turkey Lakes, I've been thinking about you, my man. I love you. I hope you're doing well. Anna's here. Patriotism USA is here. Everett's here. I just thought that was such an amazingly positive story. And if you missed it, you can rewind it or you can watch it back later. The Shaq story should be the number one story on every news in America. The world is a scary place right now. There's murder hornets and there's a lot going on. I was going to start doing a negative list and I decided to stop. There's beautiful stuff too. And Shaq is a beautiful man and I love him to death. On a negative story, my Dallas Cowboys. So I'm a Cowboys fan because I moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Before that, I was a Chargers fan. I was a little bit of a Rams fan when I was very, very young. And they moved to St. Louis. I became a Chargers fan. I grew up in LA. I was born in LA, grew up in San Diego, Chargers fan. Okay. But I always kind of liked the Cowboys. Like every red-blooded American man in America, I like the Cowboys for a couple of reasons. Cheerleaders. It was the cheerleaders that first made me like them. And I still do. But unfortunately, boy, we got an ugly story here. So their PR guy, their head of PR for a long time was Rich Dalrymple. I've only heard good things about Rich Dalrymple. I don't know him at all. I don't want to disparage him. He denies all these things, but he's involved in some scandal of which apparently he was watching the cheerleaders while they were changing. One time he says was an accident. One time he says is a lie. The worst part about this story is all the other stories that are coming out. It seems that the stories that are coming out from all across the NFL, mostly in Washington, but now headlined in Dallas, are some ugly, ugly, ugly things as it relates to the front office and cheerleaders. So I'm fearful that it's going to cost us cheerleaders. I'm fearful that we won't have any cheerleaders anymore. I think it's a fun thing. I hope it just doesn't go away. And I hope the Cowboys do a good job in fixing this. I don't know. Kind of scares me. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to go too negative. You can check it out. Google it if you want to know more about that. Major League Baseball lockout. Me and my buddy Walt from Mouse Talk. You should check out his channel, Mouse Talk. They go to Disney a lot. They live stream from Disney a lot. Great guy. Sports fan. He likes the Orioles and he likes the Rams. I don't understand it, but he does. Go check him out if you want to. He's a great guy. You should. We just had an interesting conversation about the lockout. Major League Baseball lockout. Are they going to start the season on time? I don't think they are. What is the problem? Well, from my perspective, from the articles I've read, there's a couple things. The owners want to expand the playoffs. There's no reason the players are going to argue that, other than to have it something that they give up in exchange for something. Is the season longer? Yeah, it probably is. Give up a week or two in the spring training and they can add it on the end. I don't see that being that big of a deal. The players will like it in the end. So that's not that big of a deal. The players have come out recently and said, if we don't start on time, actually, that's not true. The players have recently come out and said, if we don't have a full 162 game season, we're not going to let you expand the playoffs. The DH is a done deal. Hey, Jay, what's going on, buddy? The DH is a done deal. It's going to be in both leagues. I think that's already been ratified, as a matter of fact. The two bigger issues are the competitive balance and the fairness to the new ball players coming in. So let me explain. The Baltimore Orioles, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they are going to tank pretty much every year, and they're going to take the chunk of money of the teams that go over the luxury tax. So the Dodgers go over the luxury tax, the Cubs go over the luxury tax, although they won't now. The Yankees go over the luxury tax. There's teams that generally go over the luxury tax, mostly the Yankees, frankly. And that money gets put into a pool and divvied out to the teams that are on the bottom of spending. What happens is that gives the ownership and the organization a viable reason to choose to tank. By tanking, I mean not try to win. And I think that sucks. I think that's horrible. I think it's bad for baseball. I think it's bad for fans. Nobody likes a team not even trying. It doesn't make any competitive sense, but it makes financial sense for the Orioles and the Pirates to tank because they're guaranteed to profit. Let's be real. Whatever team is 32nd on the list of profitability is still profitable, and they're still profitable in the millions. The worst profitable team is still making a ton of money, mostly because of the national and the local contracts, TV contracts. I'm not talking about radio contracts. I'm not talking about all the merch. There's so much money to be made in baseball. The worst, least profitable major league team is making a ton of money. So why are we giving away money? The players hate the lack of competitive balance, the opportunity for teams to tank and to take the profits. It makes no sense. Also, and I think even as important to me, every year, 1, 2, 3, 4 young amateur or minor league studs are about to go to the majors and they get held back. Juan Soto, Steven Strasburg, both with the Nationals over the last 10 years have both been. I don't know. Why am I giving you a list? A whole bunch of players every year have this issue. And the management chooses to keep in the minors, even when they're the best potential player on the roster. Why? So they don't garner that service time. Why is Chris Bryant not a Cub? Maybe he wouldn't have been a Cub anyway, but he wanted to leave the Cubs and he was mad for his entire career as a Cub because when he was a rookie, they screwed him over the service time. It is totally unfair business practices to screw a player. And why do they do it? Because as soon as they get to arbitration, they're going to make them a lot of money. So the owners try to jimmy the system so they don't get there in time. What does that do to the player? They're not going to forget. It means they're going to already be mad at them. Bryant was not going to re-sign with the Cubs because he was pissed at the Cubs for what they did when he was a rookie. Like many a player had this happen. That's why they traded him. Now they had a fire sale anyway. They were going to trade him probably anyway. But my point is, why are we doing this? Why are we giving the teams at the bottom who aren't even trying to be competitive a chunk of the Yankees money to make it more equitable? So the Pirates get some of the Yankees or the Dodgers money. It's a stupid system. Why are we holding back the best players at a spring training so they don't get to service time? Like, I hate the word fair, but that is inherently, it's evil. It's not even unfair. It's evil. It's mean. It's not the best thing for the competitive balance. How are you a fan of a team who has one of the best players that could be starting on your team and they don't even put them on your roster? That's just ridiculous. I think it's disgusting. Let me get caught up in chat. I hadn't heard about the cheerleaders. It's kind of an ugly story. So the story in Washington is real bad. They've been holding back some of the information for a couple of years. Daniel Snyder, the owner of the not Redskins. It's ugly. It's ugly. The rumors that are out there is ugly. But Rich Dalrymple, the Cowboys PR guy, got a little involved with it. It just came out. It's already been looked into. The Cowboys say they found it to not be an issue, but they did make a big payment. I think like $300,000 to each cheerleader for a whole bunch of cheerleaders. So I don't know. I don't want to assume anything. Everything I ever heard about Mr. Dalrymple was positive. People who I've listened to for a long time and respect really, really like him. It's hard to take sides on something like that. I'm not going to take sides, but it's ugly. And I fear that we're going to lose cheerleaders because of it. I think with the political climate in America and these ugly stories, it could be a problem. Full DH, chicks dig the long ball, says Jason Duda. Great commercial from the 90s. Who was that? Glavin and Maddox, right? Or was Glavin and Small? I think it was Glavin and Maddox. Chicks do love the long ball. There is no way the season starts on time. I think we get a May start to the season. I hope you're right that it's a May start. I and some friends, so I used to go to spring training every year. Me and two or three of my friends used to go to spring training every year. This is when I lived in Southern California, and we'd go out to Arizona for spring training. We haven't done it since I lived out here in Texas. We decided last year that this year we were going to do it. A couple of us were going to go. It was going to be a fun time. When it's cold here in March, we're going to fly out to Phoenix and just have a good time watching my Dodgers, watching their Padres, soak up some rays, and have a good time for a week in Arizona. All that money we would have spent at restaurants and on hotels and on airplanes not going to those employees, because now I'm staying home because the owners locked out the players and there'll be no spring training. And it makes me mad. My motivation for accumulation is distribution. Back to the Shaq thing. I kind of write it. I should put it up on my wall because I say it a lot, but every now and then when I'm in the middle of a live stream, I can't get my mouth to make the words. Glavin and Max. It was, Jay. I think you're right. Yeah. I loved those commercials. But again, chicks love the long ball is probably the one that stands out. Hey, Kay, what's going on to you, Kay? I hope you're having a wonderful evening, my friend. So that's the lockout. So we've talked about Shaquille O'Neal again. He takes this family with a whole bunch of kids to dinner. Okay. He goes to the BMW of Grapevine, I think it was, or Mercedes of Grapevine, and buys them a new van, 15-passenger van. Then he takes them out to dinner again, right? Then he pays for another family's dinner, and he gives the waitress a tip of $1,000. The dad's at that event. He goes out to the car with the dad now, sees that he doesn't have air conditioning, and they go to the Ford dealership, and he buys him a truck all in a day. And they didn't have cameras. This is just a family on Instagram. It's a beautiful story. If you don't love Shaq, you don't know Shaq. Again, he's a member of the Boys and Girls Club Hall of Fame and the NBA Hall of Fame. He drives around. It does, what do they call them? Ride-alongs with the officers. His dad was a police officer. He's a big backer of the blue, as am I. I love Shaquille O'Neal. I love him a lot. So that was my first story. Then we talked about cheerleaders and the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington not Redskins. It's been rough. The lockout here for baseball, it's terrifying me. I don't think we're going to have baseball in April. I hope we have it in May. I'm fully on the player side. I think it's ridiculous what the owners are doing, and I pretty much explained why I think that. Checking Bone says we have a close friend who goes to spring training every year. So my husband loves it too. They're bummed out. Wow, we should hook up. Maybe we can hook up in Arizona, maybe next year. We got it. We're close enough. We need to hook up here in town. Shaq is one of my favorite athletes. Okay, me too. Again, I stated it earlier. I'm not a big NBA fan. I used to be. Frankly, I just don't have time. Also, the NBA's made me mad for a lot of years, and the pandemic year they went fully politically woke. I'm not a fan of what they're doing with China, so I've all these reasons, but mostly the athletes lost me. Mostly the athletes have become unbelievably selfish. James Harden, first of all, he travels every time he touches the ball, but he's just kind of a prick. Sorry, did I say that out loud? So it's hard for me to be a fan of all of that, but I am a Shaq fan. Shaq is a great man, great athlete. I remember the draft. Me and my buddy, I love NBA draft. I still love the NFL draft. And me and my buddy were watching that draft. I was in college at the time, I think. Shaq coming out of LSU, Christian Laettner, the great Christian Laettner coming out of Duke. And there was actually an argument, at least in his head, my buddy, on who should go first. Clearly, Shaq was the better prospect. But isn't it interesting that dream team, yeah, it works. That dream team that we all know about with Bird and Magic and all the greats, the greatest teams ever in the Olympics, had one college player, and it wasn't Shaquille O'Neal. It was Christian Laettner. But regardless, Christian Laettner goes 2 in the draft. Shaq goes 1 in the draft. Shaq, one of the great big men of all time, was just on the 75 greatest NBA players of all time at the All-Star weekend this weekend. Great guy, or this week. Here's how it will work, says Jay Sanudo. The Rays will be winning and be the World Series favorite. They know what they're doing out there, don't they? But then a mid-season lockout. Then the next season will start, and the Rays will be the Expos. Boy, that's not a very positive way to look at it. So if they start the season, there won't be a lockout. When they get a CBA, collective bargaining agreement, it'll be for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. So once they get this fixed, we'll not have a problem for a while. That's another thing that frankly pisses me off. Why do they wait till the end? Why don't they do it during the season? The answer is nothing gets done except for when there's pressure. And that's why the owners locked him out. There's no reason for the owners to lock him out. It makes no sense to me. They're making money hand over fist. What the players should do is take the year off. They should. I hope they don't. We learned in the pandemic season that we could have a 60-game season. It was a lot of fun, frankly. That playoffs was one of the best playoffs ever in Major League Baseball history. It was a great season at 60 games. The owners should be afraid of that. The players could absolutely cut the season in half this year and make every bit as much money. Now, there are players who are going to get hurt. Justin Verlander's losing like $200,000 a game. People are going to get hurt, but in the end, nobody's getting hurt who's not filthy rich already. So the owners are going to get hurt worse. Nathan says, what's up? What's up to you, my friend? Hope you're having a great day. Kay says, I know very little about basketball, but the way he treats people is why he is one of my favorites. I love the story he tells about his dad. Yes. The reverence for his dad and police officers in general. It's good stuff. Deadline spur action. That's so true, Jason Nudo. I don't like that, but it's true. Locking out people pisses them off, though. A lot of the players, Mookie Betts came out and said it. You want to lock us out? Fine, we'll take some games off. If you're Mookie Betts, if you're Bryce Harper, if you're Justin Verlander, if you've already got yours, if you're already in the middle of a big contract, if you're already rich, why not take April off? Why not show them 2 fingers and tell them, take a flying leap? They're hurting the bellhop in Arizona. They're hurting the Hooters waitress in Arizona. They're hurting the flight attendant from everywhere in America to Arizona. They're hurting little guys in Florida and Arizona in the spring training as a negotiating ploy, and it pisses me off. Kay says, my niece used to love Christian Laettner. My good buddy used to love Christian Laettner. Christian Laettner's an interesting guy. I like Shaq better. And I'm not talking about who's a better player. Hey, Movie Mania Nick. I'm trying to get all of the Oscar-nominated movies watched. What did I watch? Tick, 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 Boom. Yeah. I don't like musicals. I'm not a fan of musicals. I'm not a musical theater guy. The movie's great. I loved it. Anyway. Oh no, not the Hooters waitress. I mean, everybody who works in Arizona and or Florida who's not getting all that business because of the spring training. I think it's ridiculous. I think it hurts $10 an hour people, and it doesn't hurt the owners, and it doesn't hurt the players, and it makes me mad. Last story of the night. We talked about Shaq. We talked about cheerleader issues in the NFL. We talked about Major League Baseball lockout. We're going to end on Troy Aikman. Wait, what? Currently one of the best announcers in the game, right? Currently with Fox. And hold that thought. We bring in my buddy, Pete McDevitt. Pete, we don't have a whole bunch of people here, but I'm glad you are here. Pete, how are you?
Stopping by to say hello real quick.
I appreciate it. Well, we got one more topic. Let me go backwards in time here. I had a great time on our Inside the Huddle show. It's every Thursday night. Anybody who wasn't there should have been there. It's every week on Pete's channel. A bunch of us. How'd you think it went tonight, Pete?
It's great. I just saw we had 85 people that watched. Awesome. That was awesome.
That is awesome. Way more than I got 3 right now. But I had such a blast doing it. I love yelling at Pete, or not Pete. I love yelling at Walt and telling him why he's wrong. Kelly was a little quiet because I think that I was berating a little bit. Was I too mean to Walt?
No, it was fine. Hashtag I'll approve it.
Shaq. Did you hear the story about Shaq?
No.
I'm going to tell it one more time, guys. Hey, Adventures by D. Shaq takes a family called the Collins Kids on Instagram to dinner here in Texas the other night. They've got like 10 kids or something. He takes them to Grapevine Mercedes and buys them a 15-passenger van. Wow. Then they go to dinner. Well, first he goes to dinner. Then he buys them a van. Then they go to Rainforest Cafe where he pays for that dinner. He pays for the family over there's dinner, and he gives the waitress $1,000 tip. Then he meets the dad who wasn't at the stuff before, And he learns that the dad's truck hasn't had air conditioning in years. Here in Texas, you need air conditioning. So then he took the whole family over to the Ford dealership and bought the dad a truck all in one night, just this week here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm not a big NBA fan, but boy, am I a Shaq fan. What do you think of Shaq and that whole story?
Well, very generous. It's great that he can pass that love along. I think the biggest thing I would say is I also hope that he's doing the right things, because I would hate to see 2 years from now we're hearing stories of Shaq is broke and doesn't have anything because, his generosity got out of hand.
Shaq is an entrepreneur. Shaq Scott.
Oh, hold
You'd
on.
be amazed at all the business Shaq has.
Let me just say this. Elvis Presley at one point was one of the richest people in the United States. And at one point he was also pitch broke almost right before he died, where now his estate is worth almost, I think it's like 22 times more than what it was when he was alive, because they did so many things after the fact. Yeah. But Elvis also was known for giving people cars left and right, buying people houses. He bought all the people that were in his entourage and helped them. He bought them all houses and Cadillacs. So, at some point, I just hope, like you said, you hope he's got it all together. It's an incredible thing, and he deserves the props for that, because it's
Mar in Memphis loves the Elvis talk. I can tell you that. According to NBA Sports, Shaq is at least a partial owner in 155 Five Guys restaurants, 17 Annie Ann's pretzels, 150 car washes, 40 24-hour fitness centers, a shopping center, a movie theater, and several nightclubs. Also, he's an early investor in some unbelievable stocks. He's doing just fine. Yeah. Anyway, but we talked about Shaq. I love that story. He's a nice guy. Also, there's a cheerleader story. Did you hear about my Dallas Cowboy cheerleader scandal?
What did you do to her?
It wasn't me. I won't say, unfortunately, but I could. Rich Dalrymple was their PR guy for the Cowboys, and he just recently quit. And then it came out that he got caught watching them change and some other stuff. When that hit, that was a Sports Illustrated story this week. When that hit, more news came out about not the Redskins and what's going on there. A lot of that story has been held undercover. I think it's because of the Daniel Snyder stuff. It's going to come out. Looks like it's about to come out, but all the rumors are it's really bad as it relates to cheerleaders nationwide. Former NFL cheerleaders are coming out about the NDAs, non-disclosure agreements they need to sign, basically saying, I promise I won't tell anybody anything. And a couple of the ladies are coming out and saying everything, and it is not good, and it scares me. It's going to be a bad NFL. The NFL is great at keeping negative stories quiet.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's unfortunate. It's the whole society we live in nowadays. Unfortunately, for this time frame in life, it is one of those windows where we've been in for the past couple of years, where the mistakes that have happened for years are all being thrown on a barbecue grate, and the fire's been lit, and all that's coming out. And people that are doing things today might be paying for the sins of those who came before in a unique way. And that's just the world we live in right now. And I think things will quiet down, and then somewhere down the line, you'll have this window of opportunity where things are brought up of this and that as well. It's just part of living. It's just part of living. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because, you don't want these things to happen ever in a thing. You'd like to think we live in a world that it doesn't, but, let's be honest, somebody actually wanted to turn around a peephole and look at Aaron Andrews. Not sure why, but they did.
That's true. You're right.
I mean, there's always something. And that's, I guess, part of the things we live in. It's all choices that people make, and sometimes they don't make the right ones.
Well, and unfortunately, it hurts. What some idiot in a hallway in a hotel through a peephole does, very ineffectively, by the way, hurts so many people, and most of all, Aaron Andrews in that story.
Well, you could look at like the Me Too movement, or the Black Lives Matter and all this stuff that people had passions about, and then it came up, and then NFL players had opinions on it, and some kneeled, and some did this, some did that, and that in turn put a direct response into people saying, I'm not going to watch the NFL because these people were disrespecting a flag, whether they were a police officer or a military person. And there's a lot of, you got to remember, there's for the people that are out there that are doing things wrong, there's a lot of other people that are doing it right.
Amen.
And unfortunately,
Amen.
it's unfortunate the needs of the few outweigh the values of the many.
That's kind of how I led the show tonight too. That's why I talked about Shaq early, because you're so right. And if you've been watching the news today, it is not a good news day for the planet. And the Shaq news should be more well known. Let's put it that way. And he's not trying to get known for that. And by the way, Jason Nuda says, I heard he had a bunch of Papa John's. Yeah, he's on the board of Papa John's. He'll actually deliver. They had the Shaq Roni, and he'll deliver them, and that's a real thing. He's a great man. He is. The lockout, Major League Baseball. I know you're a baseball nut just like I am. I'm pissed. You got to watch me and Walt argue about the lockout. Whose side you on? Do you think we have baseball? Any thoughts on? Are we gonna have baseball?
I think our season's about 120 games. I think we'll lose the first month of April. I think May, somewhere right around Mother's Day time frame, you'll see things going. But the same token with that, I think that you will. I don't care either side. Just figure it out and get baseball. Hold on one second.
Yeah, go ahead. So the great Tommy Lasorda said, everybody wins 54 games. Okay. Everybody loses 54 games. And what happens in those other 54 games that matter? To me, take that. We should have a 108 game season. You make it 2/3. I said on the show earlier, for the people who are watching, I'll say it to you now so I can get your response. I think the year of the pandemic where we had baseball, it was a 60 game season, and such an expanded and an amazing playoffs proved that the fans are still going to come. I think the owners are overplaying their hand, and I think the evidence is that season when my Dodgers won, not last year, but the year before, the 60 game season and extended playoffs. We loved it. Now, maybe we loved it because we were missing out on it and everybody was stuck at home. There's a lot of reasons, but I think we proved as fans that we don't need 162 games. Who needs 162 games? The owners, not the players.
Well, I think the bigger challenge is that no matter when there's a lockout from any type of sports avenue, it hurts that sport. That sport regresses on the following, because there is a large contingent of people that will just say, you know what? You're all worried about money. You're all worried about this. You're not getting mine. Yeah. I'll go and I'll do something else. And they'll follow soccer. Totally You've got this USFL starting in football. I bet you if baseball's not playing, they see a huge jump over what they would have gotten, because people will be happy for sports that want a team sport or some type of sport, that don't want to watch golf or, whatever they want.
Baseball used to be America's pastime, and baseball is getting passed by and allowing other things be Americans' pastimes. And that's
football is well past baseball now, Jeff. I hate to tell you.
Totally. It's not even close. I mean, we have an off-season football show on Thursdays on your channel. That's football. NFL has done such a great job on drip the news. Look at the draft. The draft was boring as heck before the NFL decided to make it amazing. I mean, it used to be old, crusty dudes with a phone. I mean, how boring is that? Now it's must-see TV. Hey, Ken, what's going on? Hey, Adventures by D, what's going on? Hope you guys are having a great day. Just a quick couple more minutes live, talking a little sports. We'll be doing this on Thursday nights. Thursday nights, we start over on Pete's channel, Inside the Huddle. Me and Pete and a couple other people talking football, me telling Walt why he's wrong. And then, happily, we're going to come over here. I'll probably do Tuesdays and Thursdays during the baseball season. But anyway, Troy Aikman. Did you hear about Troy?
Yeah, well, there's some changes going around. It looks like, I think that the former quarterback from the Saints is looking to go somewhere, and Breeze is going over to CBS, I think it is. I can't, or CBS is trading him to Fox or something. I don't know. It's a whole big thing going on. They're going to have some movement around, and Aikman was not happy where he was at when he did not get to broadcast the Dallas game. That was one of the things that really put him over the edge.
He came out and said it. He mocked them. He's like, "Oh, good thing we're here." And I don't remember where they were, frankly.
They were in Detroit doing that game, and he wasn't doing the Dallas game, and that really irked him. So Fox has kind of promised him as part of the deal, I think, that any Dallas game they get, he'll get the prime call on it. So
Al Michaels' contract's up.
Yeah.
Before the halftime show, Eminem walked over to him. It's on video, and Eminem was a big fan of Al Michaels, and Al Michaels was laughing. And Eminem said, "I can't believe you're retiring." And Al Michaels said, "I'm not. I'll be somewhere next year." Now we hear Troy Aikman's going to ABC, ESPN for Monday Night Football, and they're talking about 9 digits. That's over 100 million people for those of us who don't know how to count 9 digits. $100 million or more contract. And why is he getting it? A, because he's great, and B, because Tony Romo got paid. He hadn't even done a game, and he's great. He's amazing.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it's Cowboy, and I'm not being silly with this. I don't know what it is about Cowboy quarterbacks. I mean, I guess they're both great announcers. Obviously, they got a lot of name recognition. But yeah, Ken, I agree. Romo, savant. I mean, I'm a former high school football coach. Listening to Romo, A, he's entertaining and fun, but B, he knows the game. He knows what's going on at a level we talked about on your show earlier, John Madden. I'm not going to say Tony Romo's there, but he's the closest we've got. Less fun. Aikman's great too, but I don't know.
Madden was better than Romo is, and I don't think Romo will get to Madden level. And the reason is simple: Madden's personality was bolder, and wider than Romo is. Romo is more of a soft comic person. He'll throw his little things in there. Madden was so loud and thing, and I think
hilarious. He was hilarious.
But Romo's again. They're excellent commentators, both of them.
Who's your favorite? You and me have talked on shows live and just offline our love for sportscasters. For me, it's Vin Scully, greatest in baseball. Al Michaels, you gotta love. Do You Believe in Miracles? Certainly amazing. For me, football, it's Madden.
I don't have just one sport. I mean, I have multiple that are just across sports. I mean, you can bring up, baseball. You can talk about, Scully, but there's also, Red Auerbach, who was incredible. There's also John Miller, who was fantastic. Chuck Thompson here in Baltimore was both incredible on baseball and football, and there's more from around the world. You go over to football, there's a bunch of them. There's Michaels, of course, has done a great job. I go back to the original 3 at Monday Night Football: Cosell, Dandy Don, and Don Meredith, and I'm drawing a blank, but Cosell, yeah, Howard. Those 3 were incredible, to listen to and sold a picture of the game and their personalities, and and all the way around. Harry Carey, there's just a list of people that have, if it's somebody who's painted the picture, that's the whole key. Like when I do sports and everything, I try to paint a picture while I'm there, a picture of not only what's going on, but also entertainment. Because you have to keep people engaged and wanting to watch, no different than why we did tonight, like we did, where you guys are the ones reacting. I am the one just painting the picture of what's going on and being the transition. And that's what some of these great people did.
When you make that, you mentioned that great list. It's college football mostly. He did some NFL, but I got to mention Keith Jackson.
Jackson.
Nelly, I love him.
Yeah.
Some of them just made the games better. And, I don't know. That's a lot. And I think I've asked this before, just for the chat and for you.
Horse racing.
What's
like Jim McKay with horse racing.
Yes. What famous baseball announcer was announcing the Montana Dwight Clark the catch?
Vin Scully.
Yes, isn't that amazing, my man? And I'm not going to share it tonight, but I've got a great Vin Scully story. Maybe I'll share it. I've shared it before. I'll probably share it again. All right, so Shaq did a good thing. Cheerleaders are at risk, in my never so humble opinion. Major League Baseball lockout. Troy Aikman. What's on your mind with sports? And we'll wrap it up. I mean, anything you want to talk about inside the huddle? Anything coming up on your channel? All of it.
I'm real happy with the way the show went. Tomorrow morning, I am putting out there 2 March Madness opportunities for people. I'm going to do a March Madness pick them all the way through bracket where you get points for each time. We're going to do a $20 one. Part of it will go to a fundraiser I'm doing, but it'll be $20 to get in, and that'll be done. And then we're going to do a block like we did for the Super Bowl for the championship game. We're going to do that at $25 a block, and if we sell out one, we'll do another. But I'm going to do that.
And I love it. So check out Pete, email Pete, or reach out to Pete, whatever you want to play that. When you're saying that, I'm trying to be positive in it, but for some reason, when you were sharing that about the NCAAs, it made me think of this stupid pandemic. I remember getting the news, I guess in 2019, about this time, a couple more weeks from now, that they were shutting down the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I thought it was bad, but it must be so much worse. And then there was an NBA player that, I don't know, did something silly, and then Major League Baseball canceled spring training, and Disney shut down. I mean, everything happened within like 24 hours of that. That was the smack in my face. The NCAA, they didn't delay it. They canceled the tournament. They didn't say we'll play, but nobody in the stands.
They didn't know what to do. They didn't know. It was at the pinnacle while everything was going. They didn't know what to do. They didn't have protocols in place. They realized they couldn't. It would have been late April, beginning of May before they got to it. It was just easier to.
Well, you're right. I mean, we didn't know what we were in for. Nobody did. But
I'm going to call some of the games this year. I didn't do that last year, obviously, but I'm going to.
Well, it was different.
I'm going to call some of the NCAA games this year for the fun of it as we're going through. So between that,
honestly, I haven't watched a basketball college game at all this year. At all.
Neither have I.
San Diego State has been good lately. I didn't go there, but I was a San Diego kid, so I've always been rooting for them. I don't know if they're in. I'll have to start paying attention.
But it'll be fun. It'll add some things to it. And then I'm real excited about tomorrow night. We've got on the Disney Channel at 10:30 what we're doing for our Disney show. We've got Greg from Chip & Co. who is right now sleeping or doing something on the Galactic Star Cruiser because he's been there since Wednesday. He was there Wednesday and Thursday.
That'll be a good interview then. I want to hear that.
He's going to be coming over and be able to talk about it firsthand.
That's got to be one of the first people. I mean, it's only been a couple sessions.
For me to talk live, all the people in social media can put it out. I believe it's tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. They're allowed to start posting stuff, all the people that were there. So I think I'll have the first live interaction.
Oh, that's awesome, Pete.
Interview with somebody. Now,
when is that? For anybody who missed it, when is that? Because I did.
Tomorrow night, 10:30 on my channel. Our usual Friday creator hangout would be. We'll still have a creator hangout. There might be some people come in, but Greg will be there for the whole show and talking with us, telling us about it, taking questions, all that.
Friday nights are rough for me with my family stuff, but I will watch the replay if I don't catch that live. That is a great get. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Should be a lot of fun.
Ken's my buddy, and he's kind of full of crap. Sorry, Ken, but as you can see, he says blah 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 blah. And Des dropped it. Do you have an opinion, Pete? Did he drop it? Did Des catch it?
I don't know, but if Ken said it, he must have.
Do you think Disney hosted all those YouTube creators for free? Triple D wants to know.
Ken, come over and give Jeff a hard time on the football show. I'd love that.
Ken's a good guy. We'll get him over.
Do you think Disney hosted all these YouTube creators? Yeah, they went there as guests. They stayed at Coronado Springs the first night. They went in and did stuff with the thing. And then they stayed overnight tonight, is the way I understand it. Actually in there and got to see it all, and it's going to be exciting to hear all about it. I can't
wait. Like I'm actually excited about that. That's do you want to go? Do you think it's too expensive? What's your position?
I think it's way too expensive for a couple day on water cruise, off water cruise, which is what it is, for the amount of money that it is. But there's a lot more to it maybe than we know. And you're paying for the experience and the memories is what you're paying for.
How big of a Star Wars fan are you, Pete?
I'm a big Star Wars fan, but not that I would want to spend, for me to take my family there, it would be about $7,000, $8,000, closer to $8,000. And to me, I would rather spend $8,000 on 2 trips down to Disney and get all my time down to Disney and get 10 or 12 or 14 days rather than just 2 days.
It's the if this or that for me.
Yeah. If money wasn't, look, I will tell you this, if money was not an object, if I had Shaq's money or whoever, anybody else's money, and I could just go there and drop it and not worry about it, would I do it? I would do a whole week there.
Yeah.
And just go take it all in. And I would dress like Yoda and all kinds of stuff. I wouldn't care. I'd go crazy. But for the everyday Joe, that's a pretty penny to have to fork over, especially if you have a family. I mean, if you're just a husband and wife, I know
why we have all these dang kids, right? That's what I'm saying.
Well, if regardless, if you're a husband and your spouse, regardless of who that is, or a wife and your spouse, regardless of male or female, if you're a partnered, create 2 people and you do not have kids, it's a lot more feasible than if you've had kids together, if you've adopted kids, if you're a foster family for kids, it's a lot more cheaper for 2 people to do that, so. It's a media spot. Yeah, I've talked to several people, Mar.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
they brought in the media, the people that are the 14 that are identified as media by Disney that they have, top 14. They brought them in they came in on Tuesday, Wednesday, end of Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday. And the rest of the social media people that are coming in that were invited are there now. You saw a lot of people, they were allowed to put out on Instagram pictures of them in front of the Star Wars sign at the front door. So Nate did it, and Jackie did it, and JoJo did it, and WW couple did it, Streaming the Magic did it. I've received a bunch of pictures from a bunch of those people on my phone saying, hey, look, I got this. Hey, and I've saved them for next week. But here's what I can tell you. If you have a creator that you like, and you're a fan of them, and they're down there, go watch them tomorrow when they start putting out their stuff. I'm sure they'll bring some great stuff. If you want some one-on-one interaction where you can ask a guest a question, come by and hang out with me tomorrow night at 10:30. And
Carolyn says, I want to highlight this for you. I know I'm curious to see what their experience will be like for the price, because that's the one for the 8 that's a little high. Blah, blah, blah. Carolyn, you need to check out Pete's show tomorrow. What'd you say, 9:30?
10:30 East Coast time. 10:30 right. Walt Disney World time is the easiest way to say it. So
Hitchhiking Bones, here. Please, Disney, bring in Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Just do whatever they want. I love them. Pete, I think we're done for the night. I love you, my man. I love what you're doing on your channel. I loved our show tonight over on your channel. We didn't get big numbers tonight on this one, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to have fun on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's going to be my sports nights. It's just going to be fun. What else? So you just told them about tomorrow night. What else you got coming? I know you talked about the NCAAs. Tell them where they can find more you. Maybe you mentioned the Discord.
We got a Discord now that we're doing. You can look me up at Pete McDevitt Show on Discord. You come over there, talk in the community. If you're not on Discord, you're missing out. There's a lot of good things and positivity. We run the Discord like I run my channel, family friendly and fun. There's a lot of good things, so please come over there. Sunday night, I'm interviewing Drew in the moment.
Love them. Love him.
Him and the Queen will be there. So we got that going on, and just a lot of hockey coming up, a lot of NCAA basketball, a lot of USFL, and building into Major League Baseball and Disney 6 days a week for my channel. Something Disney coming out.
And somebody say a prayer so he can be doing baseball, because that means we have baseball. Detroit Disney Duo says they should have a cosplay event at Galaxy's Edge. That would be amazing. Guys, we're gonna call it a night. Pete, you stick around so I can say thank you to you offline if you have a minute more. Guys, if you don't know Pete yet, go check out his channel. It's gonna be amazing. You're gonna watch that show tomorrow night. You're gonna learn about the Star Wars stuff before anybody else. Get over there. And of course, Thursday night inside the Huddle. I think that's it. You don't have to go, but you can't stay here. Have fun storming the castle.
Good night, everybody.
Say bye, Pete. Bye, Pete.
Bye, Pete.
Bye, everybody. Appreciate you. Later.